now to explore the percentage of black ownership on the Johannesburg Stock Exchange. And with me in studio is the exchange's chief executive, Nicky Newton-King. Good to have you on the show.
Thank you, Gugu.
Thank you so much for joining us. Maybe let's take a look at the numbers. I understand that they currently stand at 23% of the top 100 companies on the JSE. Is this a milestone that we've reached?
Well, it's certainly the highest threshold we've reached to date. We've measured this for the last 3 years. This is as at the end of December 2013, and we've been growing steadily. And the interesting thing about that 23 is 10% of that is held through individuals and BEE schemes, and 13% through mandated investments, which is essentially the retirement savings of black South Africans, retirement savings and unit trust savings of black South Africans. And that 13% is quite significantly higher than the amount of mandated investments held by white South Africans, showing that there is more black savings coming into the market than white savings at the moment. And I think that's a significant step towards the economic transformation of our economy.
Is there a particular goal that we're working towards here, and are we making good progress?
Well, I think in South Africa we haven't set a number on that goal, but transformation itself is a strategic priority for the country and has been for the last two decades. But I think it's important really to focus on the fact that ownership and control is only a limited part of that economic transformation, because it's about the ownership and control of the current top 100. What we should really be talking about is how do we grow the South African economy? How do we capacitate young black South Africans to become the next tech billionaires, the next real drivers of our economy? And I think we've got to not only focus on ownership and control of current companies, but actually look at, so what are the critical success factors to encourage the growth of the economy?
A lot of that also goes back to literacy, financial literacy.
Correct.
And the JSE also has several initiatives there.
Yeah, financial literacy starts, really in the colouring in books of our children. Do they understand what a coin is? How do they save? What is the dynamic with which people are talking to them about what to do with money? If it's only going off on consumables and not on things about saving, I think that's an important part of the training right at the early ages. But it is also about access to finance, making sure that we utilize the significant financial resources in the country to provide more access to finance, that we actually find ways that build real skills for South Africans of all races, but particularly our black South Africans, skills that are relevant to the new world in which South Africa is going to be competitive. And I think we've got a lot of work to do as a country in that regard.
Exactly. Does these numbers with regard to black ownership, does it attribute to our capital ratings view? Because I do know that when it comes to the WEF standards, our capital markets rank quite highly.
Our capital markets rank extremely highly. We're the #1 ranked regulated market in the world. I don't know that the BEE stats so much do, but what actually we're very proud of is that all South Africans can trust the South African capital markets. So if people are saving when they work through mandated investments, then they know that those investments can be invested in a marketplace they can trust. Then the only risk that they have to work through is whether they like the investment, the company in which they're investing, not the environment through which they're investing. And we work very, very hard at the Stock Exchange to make sure that that's world class.
We're happy to hear that your initiatives are gaining ground. Just to sidestep and look at foreign ownership, I see that's also increased quite a bit. Does this also show the level of confidence that the international markets have in our capital markets?
Definitely, as you can see, and as you're alluding to, I mean, it's at 39% as at the end of December 2013. It's slightly higher now. It does toggle depending on foreigners' investment appetite for the types of companies that we have in this country. It's really important that we maintain an economy that is attractive to international investors. The JSE, of course, is a portfolio investment space, but it is a window on what investors are thinking about South Africa and the types of companies that do business here. So we're very proud of that. We look after our foreign investors and try and create a space where they say, you know what, I like that company and I'm prepared to trade in that company through South Africa's capital markets.
Nicky, it's always a pleasure speaking to you. Thank you so much for your time today.